Item number 5 on pages 8 through 16 is an update on the US 301 traffic counters. And, the increased daily traffic volumes on US 301 continues to be a topic of interest. Several incidents recently have been inquired about, since the opening of the Middletown bypass in 2019, and of course the Key Bridge collapse has an impact on our traffic. So this is some information that our public facilities planner Steve Cohoon put together. So he's available. If you have a few minutes, he can do a quick update on that. So Steve, take it away.
Yeah, we had a lot of discussion during this year's priority letter about US 301 and about the increase in traffic, and we were trying to determine how much that increase has actually occurred. And the county started counting traffic on 301 in 2018. And so we've been collecting data, and we actually located a counter up in Kent County specifically to pick up the impacts of the Middletown bypass opening and seeing how much traffic would be coming down 301. We went back and took a look at the 2018 counts before the bypass opened on 301 at 313 Galena Road in Kent County, and looked at what the traffic volumes were in 2023. And we had COVID in the middle of that, so the traffic patterns during COVID were all over the place. But in general, we've seen about a 31% increase in traffic on US 301 since the opening of the Middletown bypass. And anybody you talk to in the community says they notice more traffic on that road. So by having the traffic counter at this location, it was specifically put there to pick up through traffic. If you're traveling that section of the highway, you're coming down the highway going, to a destination. So what does that mean? That means on any given day, or on average, we're seeing anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 more cars on US 301. So when people say it's a noticeable increase, it is. And then during the priority letter conversation, the question of has the Key Bridge impacted traffic on 301? Are people intentionally using 301 to try to avoid the congestion in Baltimore and try to avoid I-95? So what we did, we compared traffic in 2023 March, April, May, June, and July. And the traffic has increased on the corridor since the Key Bridge has collapsed and since that terrible accident. The percent of truck traffic hasn't gone up significantly. Really? It's staying pretty level at about 19 to 20% of the volume coming down the road is truck traffic. But that's a very high number. When 20% of your truck traffic or 20% of your traffic on a highway is truck traffic, that's a freight corridor. Other locations on 50 or up closer to the bridge, we'll see 10 or 12%, just to give you an idea. But because the traffic volumes are increasing, even though the percentage isn't, this number of trucks we're seeing is increasing. Right. So, it just goes up with the increase in volumes. So even though percentage of trucks may remain the same, we may see a couple hundred trucks a day in July.
And more hazmat.
Yeah. Yes. As an alternative route. And we know, if people are traveling from north down below Baltimore to Washington, and they put it in the apps that 301 is a viable option to I-95. And if I-95 is congested, you can very well be routed down 301.
Without a toll.
Without a toll. But we do know that the 301 and 405 intersection, there was a lot of discussion about that with our priority letter and asking
that number was ridiculous
to specifically look at that. And they, State Highway reported that there was 76 crashes between January 2019 when the Middletown bypass opened and December of 2023. So that's more than one a month. It's a hot spot for crashes, and that increase in crashes does go along with the increase in traffic volume.
Because I know there's a lot of talk about the other intersections taking on that, but I have the active 911, and I haven't seen an uptick at 19 or the rest stop in terms of accidents. 405 was probably, it averages out to one a week, or, one a week or whatever, but I think in the last year and a half, it's probably been closer to 2 to 3 a week.
So State Highway recognized that. Part of what they're doing is watching those intersections you just mentioned, watching the rest stop, watching the intersection of 301 and 19, seeing how traffic is moving while they're trying to make a final decision on what to do with 405.
So I told Todd today, so I went up to 19 today, and they've got to do something immediately there, because you literally can, you can only put 4 cars in that left turn lane. So you have cars sitting out in the fast lane, northbound 301, that's only a matter of time before somebody gets completely demolished there by somebody not paying attention. But I sent a letter off to Ken Fender about it, but, I mean, they really just look at putting a light there, in my mind. It's like I was talking to Jim earlier, it gives us a metering point coming southbound for the bridge to hold up traffic. It creates a safe crossing there for everybody, and it slows traffic down. Because I'm telling you, the other part of that traffic, even though it's an uptick, I haven't seen speeds, consistent speeds. It's 80, 85.
Yeah.
And you're trying to pull out, you're taking your life in your hands. And, I just feel like it'll also give you a break from the 19405 on at the rest stop. Because the rest stop's another fairly dangerous area, because you have all the tractor trailers coming out of there at very low speeds, and they're trying to get up to speed. Well, they don't have any, merge lanes there. So I think if they look at some of that stuff, because that's all, to me, that's low-hanging fruit, and that's not going to break the bank at the state. The traffic lights aren't that expensive to put up. And again, it could be a temporary thing through this course of this 405 closure, and maybe it solves a lot of the problem. Because my concern's always been, and as the commissioners up and down this corridor, is our emergency services respond to all those. Whether you're from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, I don't care where you come from, it taxes our local emergency services. And I hate to sound selfish, but then it takes them out of commission for some of our local residents at times. And,
Definitely.
If we can avoid that situation by making just a few changes, to me, it's worth it. And I think all the commissioners would agree that, little tweaks like that to help our citizens are well worth the effort.
The exits and the merge are short. They're doing 65, 70 miles an hour. So if they could double them and even widen them by 2 or 3 or 4 feet, it's not very expensive. We got the land. It would dramatically improve the situation so that, to his point, the trucks pull out and they're doing 7 miles an hour. If they had that extra merge to go another few hundred yards, and so that's merging, but also as you're coming off onto the exit, same thing. Why are they so short? Sportsman's Neck Road, Bloomingfield, Carmichael, Scotttown, they're all, 100 feet or 200 feet. They're just not long enough. So my daughter went to school in Chestertown, and prior to her driving, I'd have to drive her, or my wife would drive her. And to his point, we just didn't want to take 405 anymore. So we started a year ago making the left at the truck stop or the visitor center. So now I got to get in the left lane, and I'm doing 80 miles an hour because the guy behind me is doing 90. And I got my blinker on, and I'm like, who's this grandpa in the road, And it's because the exit was so short. I didn't want to dive bomb into it, so I get in the left lane, put my blinker on, and you can't get around me because you see the point.
Absolutely. No, we can
Just lengthen them. Lengthen the exit and the merge, and it would be a big help.
We'll get in touch with State Highway and start those conversations.
Appreciate it.